Hi, everyone. Welcome to Marianne's house. I'm Marianne Goldweber. I'm the owner of A Village Personal and Spiritual Development. And I'm a professional medium as well as a spiritual teacher. And tonight I'm coming to you live to talk about the holisticness of sleep and dreaming and why it's so important. So that's our topic this evening, and I look forward to having a pretty lively dialogue about that. So let me just link up here on Facebook and make sure that we're all connected. And if you have any questions, go ahead and post them. And what I'll do is I'll discuss those as we go along. So so yeah, so I'm looking forward to that dialogue. Why it's so important. So good that's Lord. Our topic this evening, and I look forward to having. So there we go. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'm really looking forward to tonight's topic because we're all having some interesting dream experiences as well as dreaming very profound things right now. We're all working through a lot of stuff. So I just want to give you guys an understanding of, why we're doing this, what's normal, how we can get better active dream time. And also promote the fact that I have a dream interpretation class coming up on February 20th. So if any of you are interested in that, just go onto my website, which is mariannegoldweber.com, and register for February 21st is the class, and it's going to be at 3 p.m. So if you take a look at the calendar on there, I have a number of classes that I'm offering that are on a rotation month to month. And so there's a lot to choose from. We have some really supportive classes to go on with all the things that I talk about here, or even things that we talk about when we're in session together. So I'm always trying to offer you some tools of understanding so that you don't rely on people like me for your answers, that you learn to develop your own intuitive connection to, that thing that's helping us out through this human life. So that's kind of where we are tonight. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, this is one of my favorite topics, actually, dreaming. Next to astrology, this is one of my favorite topics. So I'm going to take a look here. I got to put my cheaters on so that I can see who's with us. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming. I got a new camera. I don't know if you can tell, but I have a new camera for my computer. So in the days to come, with all the bells and whistles that come with this thing, we'll see how I do navigating it. So yeah, I can put backgrounds up. I can do all kinds of fun things with it. So I'm on a learning curve. We're all learning new things right now, right? We should always keep learning. So we've got Linda and Jamie. I feel like Miss Romper Room. I see Jamie and Ralph, Jackie and Patricia, Denise, Diane, and Tiffany so far. So that's all that said hello. If you say hello, then I will acknowledge you. So as we go through the evening, if you guys have any, I'm going to have a little Q&A session. So if you want to ask a question, type it on there. Or you can text it to me. If you text me your phone number and your name, I'm going to take some questions on air, which I think are more fun because they're interactive and you can hear me interacting with actual people. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to type my phone number in here. So if you guys have any questions that you want to pose to me, either put them in the notes here. Now, just so you guys know, the only people who can actually comment are people that are friends of mine. This is a public video, so everybody gets to see it, but not everybody gets to comment. So unless you're my actual friend on Facebook, all they can do is watch or call in. So I'm going to give you guys time to do that, but text me and I'll call you. Okay, so that's how it'll go. So anyway, so our topic tonight is how to understand why sleep is so important, because dream time is one of the easiest ways for everybody to connect to the other side in order to get insight so that we wake up in this human world and know what to do. So we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, and I'm sure you guys have some interesting dreams. So what I recommend is, if you have an interesting dream, make sure you journal those, because then if you take the dream class, we'll spend time deciphering your dream for you and then giving you the tools so that you can start deciphering your own dream time. and understanding the symbolism that goes along with that. So I got to open my handy dandy beverage here. I know some of you guys watch and wait for me to open my Diet Coke. That's not a plug. So anyway. All right. So we've got, and we've got Adrian, Mary, 2 Marys. I know. I feel like Romper Room 2, Mary. Oh my gosh. I see Mary. You know what was really funny? When Romper Room was on and I was a kid, she never said Marianne. I watched every day and waited for her to call my name, and she never did. You know, there's always Billies and Jimmies and Bobbies and all those, but, you know, Mary, but not Marianne, you know. So I was, you know, always feeling a little left out with Miss Barbara. So anyway, so right now, dreaming and sleeping and all of those things are just so out of whack. But again, there's a lot of energies going on right now in our world that are preventing us from really, you know, sleeping and well. And so I want to talk about why sleep is so important holistically. So when we use the word holistic, it actually means treating all of the bodies simultaneously. So you've got a physical body, you've got an emotional body, and you have a spiritual body. And those 3 work together in tandem. So what affects one affects all of them simultaneously. So, you know, we can't work on just our physical health and not work on our emotional health. And if we don't work on our spiritual health, that's really the kind of mortar between the bricks of the other ones. So, you know, this human body, which I lovingly refer to as a meat suit, requires maintenance. And, you know, frankly, none of us are, you know, necessarily awesome at that. Well, some of us are. But what happens to our emotional body and the things we hold inside actually can get stuck in our physical body and become dis-ease in the body. And so I want to talk a little bit about how important sleep is to all of those bodies and what really happens as we're going through that stage of this human life called sleep. Now, like I said, I'm not going to get deep into this, and I'm not going to answer a ton of questions because I've got the class coming up. So, you know, again, we can only do so much in here in our little half hour that we're talking. So each of those bodies requires a different maintenance. So our physical body needs nutrients, it needs sleep, it needs exercise, things like that, in order for it to operate at optimum capacity. And those needs change with our body as we get older. Then we've got our emotional body, you know, which our emotional body needs sleep, and it needs nutrients, and it needs a process of exercising, or you know, so that's why we do some exercises emotionally to let go of what we're feeling, so that we can get this higher divine message comes through after we process what we're feeling. So and then our spiritual body needs sleep, and it needs nutrients, which is inspiration and things that are keeping you you know, in that spiritual understanding, rather than taking this whole human world so personally and seriously. And so there's this maintenance, but the thing that ties the 3 of them together, besides those things, is sleep. So what sleep does is, as your physical body is actually resting and repairing itself. So during this sleep sequence, your body is taking the time to regenerate. Lots of things happen during that sleep sequence that help our body regenerate and get the energy that it needs. It's resting, and to get the energy it needs to do what it has to do tomorrow. So there's a lot of things that affect sleep, okay, and that's a lot of the stuff that we get into in the class. But disrupted sleep, or not sleeping well, or not being in a routine of sleeping, causes fatigue on the body, the physical body. And so we really have to sleep. In fact, I'm a non-insulin dependent type 2 diabetic, and the biggest culprits, especially in women, for that is lack of sleep and stress. And again, you know, there's a lot of things that affect this body hormonally that make sleep harder, okay, especially as you get older. So so we have to really be conscious of you know, making sure that we're nurturing ourselves by getting the sleep that we need in order for this body to work at peak performance. So a lot of diseases are manifested by lack of sleep. so as that body's resting and repairing itself, here's what's happening to the emotional body. So our brain is actually, during this time, defragging information. So your subconscious brain is actually on 24 hours a day, okay? And your conscious brain is only open up for so many hours a day. So when you go to sleep and the body's resting and repairing itself, that the brain actually begins this process of assimilating that information from the conscious brain and the subconscious brain together. So it's like defragging a computer or sorting information. So it's bringing it all together. And then what happens is, while it's doing that, your brain actually is part of the process of creating dream time. Okay, so dream time is one of the ways your brain sorts information. Okay, and so that's why it's so important that we pay attention and that we're aware during our dream sequence. Okay, because there's a lot of information going on in there that's sorting things out for us on this human journey. It's giving us answers or understanding, and it's also assimilating information. So it shows up as this kind of like movie. But what I've come to find out as doing this work for so long is that spiritually, what's actually happening is, while your body is resting and repairing itself and your brain is defragging this information, the essence of who we are, which we call our soul or whatever, kind of takes this journey backstage. Okay, so we actually leave the body during dream time and we go to the other side, backstage, to get insight. So a lot of the things that happen in dream time are not just your brain making things up. A lot of it is happening as messages or messengers are coming into that dream time. Actually, you're going to them, not them coming to you. And so this is where we have experiences with like divine things in the dream sequence, as well as people who've passed away. That actually is them. But the dream sequences, some of the emotional aspects of our relationship with them, and so it's all symbolic, and it's so fascinating. Like dreaming is one of my absolute favorite topics as a medium and as a spiritual teacher, because dreams are so profound in telling us where we're at or how we're doing and what the universe really has to say to us. So in the days to come, between now and when the class is February 21st, keep a pen and paper by the bed and write down your dreams. Now, I actually use the messaging function on my phone, and there's a text tablet in there, and I get up and I write down the dream, okay? And I do it while I'm in that kind of twilight place, like if I get up in the middle of the night or when I first wake up in the morning, I hurry up and I type up what I can remember in there. So, because after you're awake, that dream starts to fade. It starts to fade away and you forget that you even dreamed sometimes. So writing what you remember down is paramount and key to us understanding what's really going on. So that's why it's very important that we have this ability to put ourselves to bed. And the challenges for a lot of people right now is there's so many energies going on. In fact, I just posted this on my Facebook page the other day, was talking about being resistant to sleeping intentionally. It's almost like we're passive aggressively going to sleep, or resisting sleep because nobody's on a really good schedule or pattern of rest at this point. So one of the things I do as I'm preparing for sleep, so why don't you guys think about it like if you were putting a baby or a child to sleep, are you putting yourself to sleep the way you would a child? Okay, chances are no. Okay, so would you like play with a baby and wind it up and get it all excited and then try and put it in the crib? No, but that's what we do to ourselves. We don't have a decompressing time or a time where we dim the lights and we do comforting things. Quite often I take a salt shower before bed to wash off my day, to wash off those energies, so that when I go to bed, it's with clear. At least my energy is clear, and so that's very important. And the things we talk about in the classes, how to do that. We also talk about things that disrupt sleep that we can change. So it's a very informative class when it comes to creating better sleep for dream time. So yeah, so we don't prepare for sleep. And some of us are like me. I'm what they call an owl. Owl are people that stay up late at night. Then there's people who are larks, who are morning people. I can be a morning person, however. Like I said, I like when it's 2 o'clock in the morning because there's no energy. The energy is very quiet. And so I feel like I can actually do a lot of meditation or spiritual work or get my best ideas at that time of night because there's not all this chatter going on in the world, which I can feel empathically. And just so you know, there's another class coming up, which is called, nurturing or caring for your empathic self or understanding your empathic connection. And that's another wonderful foundation class to get you started on understanding on feeling energy and who's more susceptible to that and how to balance that and safeguard yourself from absorbing, other people's energies or situations. So, like I said, all these classes are kind of patterned to support each other. So again, going to bed, preparing a restful place to go to sleep is really important. And the challenge is most of us don't know how to do that, or we don't do that. I treat myself like a wicked stepchild sometimes. So I'm, watching my phone or I'm doing things that stimulate my brain rather than trying to get it to decompress. One of my tricks that I use is I set the timer on the television. I like white noise in my room, so for me that's important. So I set the timer on the TV for about a half an hour, and I watch some mindless television that, like The Golden Girls or some old sitcom like Frasier or one of those. That's just, and then it, just goes on to the next episode, and I just watch that for a half an hour until I fall asleep. And then the TV automatically goes off. So yeah, so there's a lot of things that disrupt our sleep or we're just not creating good habits. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about dreams, and how important they are to us surviving this human life. Dreams are always giving us a message. And the challenge is because we don't understand the symbolism that we don't, we think of a nightmare as something torturous, something that, maybe you ate pizza or ate something funny. But, nightmares, dreams, all of those things contain answers. And that's why it's important for us to get the message out of it. And, and every part of that dream has purpose. So anyway, so let's see who we got on here tonight. And we'll take some questions if anybody has any. Hi, everyone. So Jackie has a statement that she's making, which is, I dream a lot about my parents, and then when I wake up, I realize they are both dead. Then I'm so sad. Well, Jackie, just to give you some insight on that, dreaming about people who've passed away, that actually is this place, we call it the in-between place. So dreaming, we kind of go backstage. And so they come to that backstage area and we have an interaction with them. So quite often when you're dreaming about people who've passed away, we're just having a convo. The rest of the dream is important. So where you're meeting up with them in the dream, how you're feeling. Quite often, this happens all the time, is people will say to their person, well, you're dead. And they're like, I'm not dead, and that is the message. See, we see them as dead because this physical body dies, but we don't realize that who we are, our essence, our soul does not die. And it's just that you can't recognize it because it's all pure energy now. So they're coming in that dream time to bring you comfort. It's not to scare you. It's not to bother you. And that's how we know that we're ready to see them in that new form, is dream time. So a lot of people, when they experience a grief or a death, they're not dreaming about their person because they haven't processed the emotion that we have to work through in grief in order to come to a place of acceptance of the fact that they've passed away. So when they come in and meet us in that dream time, that's really a wonderful thing to let you know that you're ready and they're ready. See, there's a process on the other side of that people have to go through, like grief, accepting that they're on the other side. And there's a process of looking at your whole life and weighing that all out and getting to see really who you are plus this life that we just experienced. So there's a process for them on the other side that is equally as important as our grief. And so when they're ready and when you're ready, that's when we have a dream. And it's a beautiful thing, actually. And yes, it can bring up some of our unfinished emotional things, but grief isn't something that you get over, Jackie. It's something you get through, and it's never truly over. And I have a video that I did all about grief on my YouTube channel. So if you want to subscribe there, there's a bunch of videos about other topics that I've talked about before. So I think you get a lot out of that. And you can always have a one-on-one session, because that way you and I can talk about very specific issues, because every death is unique, because it depends on what kind of relationship we had with the person who passed away. It depends on, was it a good one? Was it a bad one? Was it your parents? Was it a child? Was it a friend? All of those relationships bring a different dynamic to grief as well. So if I can help with that, don't hesitate to give me a call and we'll schedule a session. So currently sessions are only $60 for an hour, a full hour. Sometimes we even run over just because it depends on what we're talking about. And that way it'll give you an opportunity to really privately just, work through, that from that spiritual perspective. I would love to help you with that. If anyone else is experiencing anything like that, just let me know. It's funny, people on the other side have a very funny way of expressing themselves in dream time. My mother actually calls my sister on the telephone. So in the dream, she doesn't see her. She actually talks to her on the phone, which is really very symbolic, because the phone is a way of communicating. And my mother is away or somewhere else. And my sister, so she's calling her on the phone. So that's really kind of fun and symbolic, which is kind of fun. I'm so grateful you guys all came to visit me tonight. This is great. So if you guys want a repeat of this performance, okay, I post all of these on my YouTube channel. So if you want to subscribe, I need to get over 1,000 subscriptions before I'm allowed to do any other fun bells and whistles with YouTube. So tell your friends, just sign up, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I don't overdo you. I only put up one of these or two of these a week. Hi, Deanna. Well, like I said, Jackie said it's disturbing. Well, it's disturbing because we may have some unfinished grief issues that we work through. So part of the grief process is denial, anger, sadness, surrender, and acceptance. And they don't come in order. And if we're not really working through the process of grief, it can prolong it. It's not something you get over. Your brain is trying to assimilate all kinds of new information with the person not in your life anymore. And like I said, it depends. Did you have a good relationship? Did you have a bad relationship? Because all of those things make a difference, as it's very individualized for each person who has experienced grief. Now, that grief also happens not only with people that passed away, but it happens with every single time we're shifting gears or there's a monumental change in our life. So it initiates this process of leaving one thing and embracing something new, whether it's by choice or force. So again, none of us have been taught properly how to grieve, how to really be in healthy interdependent relationships with anybody, let alone our parents. And so, like I said, there's a lot you can learn from some of these classes, or even, like I said, just scheduling a one-on-one session. I would love to help walk you through that process and give you some tools of understanding. Hey, Shannon and Peggy, Gina, Micah. God, it's nice to see you guys on here. Tiffany. Tiffany said, I wish my mother would come visit me in my dreams. So at the beginning of this convo, a lot of times we're not dreaming because we're not sleeping well. So it's not that your mother's not coming to you in dreams. You're not going to her. Okay? So we can't dream if we're not sleeping right. And that's why sleep is so important in order to activate that dream time. But none of us are sleeping right. And, or you're getting really convoluted, weird dreams. So that's why we're having this convo tonight, is to give you guys some tools of understanding so that you realize how important sleeping is. You can't dream if you're not sleeping and you're not getting into REM. REM is rapid eye movement. That's how you can tell when you're dreaming. When someone's dreaming, if you see their eyelids going back and forth like this, that's when the dream sequence is being activated. And if you're not getting down into REM, there's 3 levels of sleep. There's light, there's REM, and there's deep. REM and deep are the 2 things that are restorative. Okay, it's very important. So I actually have a Fitbit. I have a Fitbit that I wear, and I really only wear it for my sleep, understanding my sleep. Because for me, health-wise, sleep is really, really important. And there's been so much chaos and so much upheaval, and the work I do makes it very difficult for me to be on a schedule of sleep. So I've been working really hard at that, and I use a Fitbit, and it gives me a breakout of how I'm sleeping and how long I'm sleeping. So it tells me how long I'm in REM. It tells me how long I'm in light. It tells me how long I'm in deep, and it's very, very interesting. It gives you a sleep score. It tells you how you're breathing or what your heart rate is. And so it's just a wonderful tool. I mean, I have to tell you, it's really been very instrumental in helping me get back on a good schedule. Hey, Patty. It's nice to see everybody on here. Okay, Maureen. Maureen's question, well, not her question, it's more of a statement. She's asking me a question of, what's your thoughts on binaural beats or frequencies? Right. So, we have rhythms. And so a lot of times sound can also be a wonderful thing to stimulate or activate dreaming. Frankly, for me, that is distracting. I like to kind of have a more organic, you know, dream time or dream sequence, but those help a lot. Sometimes frequencies. So some people listen to or put it on the television, just to get to sleep. I absolutely, yeah, whatever works. Try it. I mean, you'll see how that works for you. But yeah, frequencies, beats, all of those things can create rhythmic patterns to help us get into a certain rhythm of, those levels of sleep. I know you miss them, Jackie. Jackie says, I guess I miss them. You do. And again, once we work through our process of grief and really let them go or come to a place of acceptance with their actual death, then we're going to really look forward to those times where we can connect with them in that dream space. Because, but that's a process, honey. So hopefully I'd love to help you through that. Yeah, it's wonderful having a one-on-one session. And not because I'm trying to sell you guys anything, but because having that new perspective, the thing that I bring to the table is it's such a unique perspective spiritually that it actually allows a lot of things in our life to just dink into place. I'm really just confirming a lot for you that you already know. And so it's a wonderful thing because the whole goal is working through this human life and learning and teaching and getting the most out of it. And, we don't want things like death and grief to stop you from really living your own life. So we want to help you through those things. Hey, Judy. Hey, Rachel. Let's do some makeup classes. Okay, I have to tell you, when I was 12, I worked at the local beauty shop. And I have to tell you guys, I did not have an upbringing where somebody helped me with any of those things. So I didn't know much about anything. And I have to tell you, those women at the beauty shop taught me everything. They taught me how to dress, how to talk to people. I mean, mind you, I was really, really shy, insecure, and, I know, can you find that interesting? Anyway, I am actually very socially awkward, believe it or not. So yeah, they taught me how to put on makeup. I mean, I love makeup. I love doing my hair. Oh my God, my hair was so many colors. I used every new product that ever came out. My hair used to be very dark, back before I, had life and it went white, but a lot of that has to do with my diabetes and some thyroid stuff. And so, yeah, I lost the color of my hair when I was like 35. So, yeah, it was pretty interesting. Oh, got out the paints tonight. Got out the paints tonight. No numbers. Oh, that's so awesome, Catherine. God bless you. You have to show me what you create. So Catherine said, got out the paints tonight. No numbers this time. Uh, and I'm not going to divulge this, but this I will, because we were in session together and the universe told her that she has to be creative, but she's not allowed to do paint by number. And I guess she was doing something that was very concretely organized, like they told her to finger paint, which I thought was awesome. Oh, you have to let me know how that goes. Judy, I treated myself to a Fitbit for Christmas and I am more of a light sleeper. What's interesting is I when I'm under stress, especially, I spend, well, most of your time is in light, just so you know. So deep is a short time, and REM is more, and light is the most. You spend a lot of time in light sleep. My sleep is so light, however, that I actually talk in my sleep. So if you talk in your sleep, okay, you're not even really sleeping. And so that's where a lot of people wake up tired and cranky, is they're not really getting into REM and deep. And that's why we have to really prepare for sleep so that we can be relaxed and be able to get down into those restful places. Some people have breathing issues, which it tells you that on the Fitbit as well. It tells you how you're breathing, what your heart rate is. And so it can show you like places where you might have apnea or some breathing issues during your sleep time, which is not my problem. But I actually talk out loud in my sleep. I'm currently staying with family, and my brother-in-law was joking. He said, "Who are you on the phone with at 3 o'clock in the morning?" And I'm like, I wasn't on the phone at 3 o'clock in the morning. He goes, "Marianne, you were talking to somebody and you were so clear." He goes, "It sounded like you're on the phone with someone, like a client or somebody, because you were just blah, blah, blahing this whole, monologue." And I had to laugh because when I'm stressed, I talk in my sleep and I'm not really sleeping right. So I have full blown conversations. Like I'll be in my dream, I'll be at a lecture, and I've actually woke myself up talking out loud, and I talk clear as a bell. Just like it's kind of creepy actually. So yeah, that's pretty funny stuff. My brother-in-law's like, so it makes me laugh. Some people do have to take things for sleep, okay, just to get themselves on a routine. That sometimes has to happen. So because like I said, if we're not sleeping, our body is not resting and it's not repairing itself, and it can cause a number of different health issues. Or if you have a health issues, or you have some non-neurotypical things going on, sometimes, like once in a while, just to get myself back on a pattern, I'll take like an antihistamine or a Tylenol PM, which that's all that is an antihistamine. But I take it early enough so that I'm sleepy and I actually go to bed. So yeah, sometimes we have to do that. My doctor recommended that for my diabetes. Paulette, I dreamt of a man in an overcoat and hat purchasing magazines. I was working the counter. I struggled to add up the total. It seemed to take forever. I had to keep redoing it. I can't see the rest of it. I can't see the rest of that question. Paulette, I'm sorry. I'll be able to see it when I'm off the computer. So if you got a long thing to do another hit send first. So it's really funny. Sometimes the people that in the dreams that seem like they're just characters playing a role, sometimes that is spiritual messengers. Okay, so that's why they're kind of shinier or they stick out. Those people aren't people we know, but they're definitely messengers of some kind. So that's a fun part that we talk about in the dream class. Shannon wrote, "When I tracked my sleep, it gave me anxiety, so I don't do it anymore. If I had a bad sleep, I let it determine I would have had a bad day." Right. it can get obsessive. Okay, I'm a compulsive person by nature. So I don't wear anymore. I don't wear the Fitbit all the time. Okay, because I know if I go to bed early and I do what I'm supposed to do and I do all my preparedness stuff, I sleep pretty good. But I will put it on every couple of days just to see, how that's going. But yeah, it can actually it can actually cause anxiety. I can totally see that. Shannon, I'm a chronic sleepwalker and talker. I had to see a doc and hang bells on the doors. Right, because you're not getting into a deep enough sleep. And there's a lot of reasons for that, Shannon. It's not uncommon for people to be. When I was under some huge stress, I had a friend who was staying with me temporarily, and he watched me. Like, I got out of my bed and I passed him up in the living room, and he's like, "Oh, she's up." And I was not up. I went to the refrigerator. He said I opened it and stood there for like 20 minutes. He was afraid to say something because he had a feeling I was sleeping. And I stood in front of the refrigerator like this for 20 minutes, closed the door, and went back to bed. He goes, "You remember being up last night?" I said, "No." He said, "You were sleepwalking." I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting." But yeah, so that's because we're just not getting into that deep enough sleep. And there's also a hormone that gets secreted when we get down into REM, that some people have trouble with when they're under stress or they're taking meds or there's some issues, emotional things going on. But this hormone actually paralyzes you temporarily, so that when you hit REM, that you don't get out of your body. I mean, you don't get out of the bed and literally jump out a window. Okay, so quite often that hormone isn't being secreted for whatever reason. Okay, so that is a biological thing. Some people wake up. This is what we call nocturnal paralysis, which is where people wake up during that hormone wearing off, and so they'll think they're seeing things, or something's holding them down. It feels like something's pressing on you. So I've had a lot of people feel like they were being held down in their sleep. And that is not demons or bad things in your house. That is what sleep paralysis feels like. Some people feel like the bed's vibrating or there's some electricity. I mean, yeah, it's a very uncomfortable thing. So, yeah, that happens. I'm sorry, Shannon. Hopefully, you'll get that under control. Maybe if we did some, it can't just be a physiological thing. Maybe there's something that you need to work through, too, that we could help you with. I've been up for 36 hours. Oh, that is so unhealthy, Dana. You know that, though. But, again, when we're taking meds, that really affects it. You know what's really funny is when you take antidepressants, it creates like crazy dreams, like so real you could touch them. And one time, my ex-husband, because of he was having chronic pain from some horrible accidents he was in, he was on some antidepressants for pain management. And he got up. I mean, he was screaming, "I won, I won, I won." And I'm like, "What did you win?" And he's like, "I won the lottery." So he woke up and was mad because he really thought he had won the lottery. And I wish he had. Okay, but he didn't. Rachel, I talk very clear in my sleep also, but I also do weird stuff like I was dreaming of being on a farm and I was mooing at the cows. And when I woke up, I asked Tommy if I was mooing out loud, and he videoed me, and oh my god, I was, and it was hilarious. I know, right? Oh no, Becca lived with me for 7 years. I mean, she threatened to videotape me all the time. I'm glad she didn't. So yes, so you're not really in that deep enough sleep. So and again, you have a partner in the bed, animals in the bed, kids in the bed. There's all kinds of things that disrupt your sleep, and we can't even go through those tonight. Shannon, I almost burned down a house lighting candles full of sleep. Yes, this is why sleep is so important, that we really get down into that sleep sequence of that hormone, uh, kicking on. So sometimes when we have hormonal issues, especially as women, you know, that up and down of our hormones, these hormones are all can be affected. Or if you have thyroid issues, sometimes if you have thyroid issues, those things govern all these systems. So yeah, wow, Shannon. No wonder you have bells on the doors, girl. Hey, Lisa. Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that's yeah, isn't this fun? So anyway, so sleep is so important, people. And right now, you know, I know it's hard to sleep because we've got all these energies going on, but it's very important that you prepare for sleep. If I can just give you one, you know, thing that you take away from this convo tonight, is really preparing for sleep, just like you would if you were putting a child to sleep. So write this down. What would you do for a baby or a child if you were putting it to bed? Well, I'd turn down the lights. I would give it a warm bath. I would talk to it kindly. I would snuggle with it. You know, we can do those nurturing acts with ourselves, but we really deny ourselves that kind of nurturing. But how can we feel safe and secure enough to leave our body in the night if we're not sleeping well? And so that's why clearing energy, learning how to do those tricks and tools is clearing energy, writing out your emotion, burning it, making sure that we're, you know, creating peace, by getting rid of the chaotic things, you know, setting boundaries, doing all kinds of fun stuff. There's a million ways. But if you were putting a child to sleep, how would you put that baby to bed? That's that's how you should put yourself to bed. Nobody's turning down the lights and reading you a story. Maybe you should read yourself a story. There's so many apps right now that offer like bedtime stories, you know, that you can, as a grown person, listen to before bed. And, you know, or like I said, there's so many cool things that I use. I use YouTube on my, see my television? I use YouTube and I go on there and I do like the fishes swimming with the music behind it. And just watching, you know, I lay on my side and I just watch the fishes swim by. And so they have these aquarium videos, they've got fireside things, they've got Native American drumming that goes on for hours. So you can just set the timer to shut it off in a certain length of time. And going to bed with whatever creates that peaceful, nurturing, you know, cozy feeling for you. I also, some people use weighted blankets. Um, I actually have a heating blanket, like an electric blanket, and I just love how cozy it feels. And I set it low, real low, so it doesn't really get too hot. And it's just such a wonderful. It feels like very womb-like, you know, when you're going to bed in this nice warm. I always warm the bed up first with it, and then I turn it way down or off, and then that lasts me for the night. So those things are all things that bring us comfort. So, all right. Did anybody send me? Let's see what else we got here. We'll just schedule a session. So this is to, hold on. Maureen Burns. I'm sorry, Maureen. The comments are so disjointed, I probably won't be able to answer you. But yeah, just give me a call and schedule a session. It's so much fun. I'm a lot of fun, guys, okay, to talk to. You definitely walk away feeling heard and empowered. The universe never tells you bad things. They tell you things that you already know, basically, and or, you know, helping you through some healing process, you know, that we can only get through that spiritual understanding. But it's not about you getting answers from me. It's about me giving you the tools so you know how this works, so that you're not relying on other people for things that you need in your life. It's very important. Oh, so I have to tell you, Claire, I got a new camera. Okay. Yeah. Can you guys tell? I love this thing. It's a brand new camera, and it's making a huge difference. I don't have all the bells and whistles and everything hooked up. Oh, thank you, Rachel. I love talking to you guys. Thank you, Shannon. I love you guys calling or coming in and doing this with me. So let me so does anybody want to go live with me? Do they have a question? You want to talk to somebody? Just text me and I'll call you. So my number again, I'm going to put it on here, is 216-324-2657. Oh, I wrote the wrong number in here, guys. 216. Oh my God. 216-324-2657. Put my own damn phone number in there wrong. Hey, Lisa. So text me if you have anything you want to talk about, and I'll call you, and we'll go live. So that's kind of it on dreams tonight, or sleep, and the holistic nature of sleep. It's very important that we feed, that we nurture, and that we listen to each one of our bodies. Our physical body, our emotional body, and our spiritual body all need things, different modalities. They need different practitioners. You know, our physical body needs a doctor. Our emotional body sometimes needs a mental health professional. You know, just like I'm a spiritual teacher and I help people navigate that spiritual body. But when they're working all together, sometimes I do work with physicians or mental health professionals. We can't really heal some of these things until we work through the human stuff. So, you know, there's no shame in asking for help, people. And, you know, so if there's anything I can do. All right, so nobody's texted me. Let's see what we got to say here. All right. So Shannon says, crystal clear video. I asked my husband for a gift session. Oh, awesome. That's wonderful. Yeah, just you know, just call me. Yeah, the camera's amazing. I was shocked. It's a Logitech. It's a 1080 HD. And this is you know, there's like no filters really on this one, but there's a lot of things, fun things I can do with it. It comes with its own like programs and stuff inside it. All right, kids. Well, I'm so grateful for all of you tonight. And like I said, so if you go to my website, which is mariannegoldweber.com, there is an events classes page, and all of my classes are listed on there, and they rotate. So currently I only have 3 classes, but they appear, you know, every month. So the dream interpretation class is February 21st. I'm also offering the Understanding Our Empathic Connection, which is huge for anybody who is empathic or feels so much. People who work in service industries especially as well. I do a lot of those as workshops for people who work with people. And right now this is so difficult, you know, managing that. So that's a good class. And then my favorite, okay, another one of my favorites is called Defining Your Relationships. Once you take this class, you cannot unsee some things, okay? It will put everything in order when it comes to how to create, you know, better interdependent relationships. It's a great class. So for those of you that have not ever done this with me or have not heard this in an event or in a session, you know, so the challenge we face is that we really want steak in life. We want the steak, you know, the big filet with the bacon wrap, the whole, you know, with the mushrooms and onions, the whole thing. However, we stand at the conveyor belt of life and down comes the hot dog and we're hungry, so we eat it, okay? And we're like, damn, I still want a steak. Okay, so down the conveyor belt comes another hot dog and you're like, oh, another hot dog. I'm just so hungry, I'm going to eat that. Okay, if you let the hot dog go by, okay, guess what's coming next? The steak. So how do we manifest better relationships in our life? That's what this class is about. It's about, do you really want a steak or are you going to keep eating hot dogs? Okay. And so all these classes really have, they're very lighthearted. Even though we do deal with serious topics, you know, we come to a place of really trusting that, you know, our sense of humor is all I got some days. So, so yeah, do you want a steak or are you still going to eat wieners? Okay, we got to stop doing that. Oh, I'm so socially inappropriate. But that's what you love about me, I'm sure. Anyway, all right, kids. Well, I'm very grateful for you guys following me. Like I said, if you go and subscribe to my YouTube channel, I think I've got like 100 and some people, and as subscribers. I need over 1,000 in order to open the new bells and whistles that come with YouTube. So I don't care. Tell your friends to, like my subscribe button, and I'll be uploading these videos as I finish them every week. So my next go live will be this Friday. Not sure what the topic's going to be. Sometimes I have a special guest. I'm going to probably have Jared Goldweber back on here again at popular request. They want to talk to Jared again. And I look forward to our next time together. So keep the peace, stay well, and yeah, if you have any questions, just reach out. I look forward to hearing from you again. Thanks, guys.